Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. What happens when one man's sense of justice puts a target on his back and the walls start closing in from every direction? Jacob thought he was doing his job, but what he actually did was pull a thread that unraveled something far darker than he ever imagined. Detective Jacob made the call to arrest Leah, a calculated, evidence backed decision he believed was the right move. But from the second those handcuffs clicked into place, something shifted. Leah didn't fight it. Didn't panic. She just smiled and told him he didn't understand what he had just done. And honestly, she was right. Within hours, Jacob's files started disappearing. His calls stopped connecting. His colleagues started avoiding him. And an internal report full of false allegations landed on his desk. Someone has building a case against him fast and from the inside. When he went to confront Leah in the holding, she didn't deny any of it. Instead, she told him something that changed everything. Arresting her wasn't the dangerous part. Surviving it was. And then the building erupted into chaos, and Jacob finally understood just how deep this rabbit hole went. Let's talk about the moment this whole thing began. Because it did not start with danger, it started with control. Jacob approached Leah's arrest the way any seasoned detective would. Methodical, composed, airtight, every word he chose, every step he took was deliberate. He wasn't winging it. He had the evidence, he had the instinct, he had the authority, and yet, from the very first second, something felt off in a way he couldn't quite name. Because Leah didn't react the way suspects react. Most people, when they are being arrested, show something fear, defiance, desperation. You get tears, or you get anger, or you get someone making a run for it. What you don't get is calm. What you don't get is that slow, knowing smile spreading across someone's face as the cuffs click into place. Like they have been waiting for this moment and they are almost relieved it's finally here. That image alone should have told Jacob everything. But when you are in the middle of doing your job, when the adrenaline is moving through you and you are focused on procedure, it's easy to file the uncomfortable details away for later. You really don't understand what you have just done? Leah told him quietly, almost gently, like she was breaking bad news to someone she felt sorry for. Jacob brushes it off. He heard that kind of talk before. Suspects trying to plant seeds of doubt, trying to use psychological pressure when physical resistance wasn't an option. Classic intimidation, he wasn't falling for it. Or so he thought. The hours that followed were where things started to crack. It began with the phone calls. Jacob was trying to follow up on a lead directly tied to Leah's case. Routine stuff, the kind of call a detective makes a dozen times a week. But this time nothing was connecting. Silence, static, calls cutting out mid break once. That's a bad signal twice. Maybe a technical glitch, but every single time that's a pattern. And Jacob was experienced enough to know the difference between a coincidence and something deliberate. Someone was cutting off his access, quietly, methodically, the same way you would dismantle a machine. One small part at a time, then came the files. Not gone in any dramatic, obvious way. Not yet, but they were vanishing from the digital system. Reports he had written himself with his own hands, evidence, logs, surveillance, records, all of it, slowly being erased like it never existed. And when Jacob tried to pull from the backup servers, the failsafe, the last line of defense for exactly this kind of situation, the system locked him out entirely. Authorization denied. Imagine being a detective and watching your own case get deleted in real time while you are sitting right there, powerless to stop it. I can't even imagine the helplessness of that moment. The rage, this isn't random. Jacob said to himself, and he was right. This is targeted. And then it got even more personal. The people around him, people he had worked alongside, people he trusted, started pulling away. Not loudly, not in any way he could directly challenge. Just a shift. Eye contact that disappeared when he walked into a room. Conversations that stopped mid sentence that moment he got close enough to hear them. The kind of social withdrawal that tells you, without a single word being spoken, that something has changed, that you are no longer on the same side as the people around you, that somehow, without knowing exactly when it happened, you became the outsider. And then the folder landed on his desk. His colleague walked in, expression tight, and handed it over without ceremony. Jacob opened it, and what he found inside made his blood run cold. An internal report about him, misconduct, mischanneling of evidence, abuse of authority, a whole narrative constructed and packaged, designed to paint Jacob not as the person trying to expose the truth, but as the problem himself, the villain of the story. I can't believe they moved that fast. Whoever was behind this wasn't scrambling in reaction to the arrest. They had a plan ready to deploy. All they needed was the trigger. This is a setup, Jacob said, and his colleague's silence confirmed it louder than any agreement could. Someone pushing this from the inside, the colleague said carefully. Jacob didn't hesitate. He went straight to Leah. And the conversation that followed in that holding cell was the kind that reframes everything. Dia sat there completely composed, like she was holding all the cards and had been the whole time. She wasn't gloating, and that was almost more disturbing than if she had been. She was just certain, certain of how this would go. Certain that Jacob was only now beginning to understand the landscape he had stumbled into. You still think this is about right or wrong? She told him. About law and order. But it's not, it's about control, and you just threaten people who have a lot to lose. That line hit different because it's not just true for Jacob, it's the truth about how these kinds of systems actually work. It was never about the law. It was never about justice. It was about power, and Jacob, by doing his job correctly, had accidentally declared himself as an enemy of people who had spent years making sure no one could touch them. I'm not backing down, Jacob said, and Leah's smile faded. That's exactly why you are in danger, she said. Not a threat, a warning. From someone who, despite everything, seemed almost concerned for him, as if she respected what he was, even while watching him while toward destruction. And then the building exploded into noise. Crashing metal, shouting voices, chaos spilling through the hallways, officers running past, everything escalating at once. It's starting, Leah said quietly. And when Jacob demanded to know what was starting, she looked at him with that steady, unshakable gaze and delivered that line that wrapped everything together. It was surviving it. What Jacob is facing isn't just professional sabotage, it's the full weight of a network that has spent years insulating itself from accountability. The speed at which the internal report appeared, the precision of the file deletions, the coordinated social withdrawal from his colleagues, none of that happens organically. That's infrastructure, that's people with reach, with resources, and with absolutely no hesitation about using them. Jacob didn't just arrest a suspect. He poked a hole in something that was never been to be seen, and now every mechanism of that hidden system is turning toward one target, him. Honestly, the most chilling part of this entire situation isn't the danger. It's Leah's calm because she wasn't terrified when she was arrested. She wasn't even angry. She was almost sorry for Jacob in the way you feel sorry for someone who doesn't realize what they have stepped into. The kind of confidence only comes from one place, knowing it exactly what's coming and knowing you can't stop it. Jacob is a good man trying to do the right thing inside a system that has already been compromised. And that right there is the most dangerous position anyone can be in. Jacob made one arrest, and in doing so, he may have triggered the most dangerous chapter of his life. This isn't just about Leah, it never was. It's about a network, a system, and the people who will do absolutely anything to protect it. The question now is whether Jacob has enough left evidence lies time to survive what's coming. Do you think he gets out of this? Do you think anyone inside that building